Hi, I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music. Welcome to my channel. Today in Fingerboard Geometry, we'll talk about major triads on strings 4, 5, and 6. First, we'll look at some fingerings, and then we'll do some exercises. Here we go. I hope you enjoy it. Alright, today in Fingerboard Geometry, we'll be doing triad inversions on strings 4, 5, and 6. Let's start with the root A, and I'm going to start with root position. That means the root is in the bottom, so here is an A triad. So root, third, fifth, A. Next we have first inversion A, that means the third is at the bottom. So that's 3, 5, 1, or in this case the notes are C sharp, E, and A. And then finally we have the fifth in the bottom. That's what's known as second inversion. So the notes here are E, A, and C sharp, or 5, 1, 3. Now let's try the same three shapes or three inversions on the root D. I'm going to start with the fifth in the bass. So here is D with the fifth in the bottom. 5, 1, 3. That's a D chord. Now we have D with the root in the bass. That's 1, 3, 5. And finally we have D with the third in the bass. So we have to go all the way up to here, F sharp at the 14th fret. So that's 3, 5, 1. And finally, let's do the E triad. And so for E, I'm going to start with this first inversion here. So we have G sharp, B, and E, or 3, 5, 1. And now let's do the second inversion. So 5, 1, 3. And finally, root position is 1, 3, 5 at the 12th fret. Those are our inversions. Now that we've looked at the basic inversion fingerings, let's group them together into 1, 4, and 5. So as many of you know, there are a lot of tunes out there with the 1, 4, and 5 chords, or 3-chord songs. These three major chords are the primary chords of the key. So the chord based on the first degree of the scale, fourth degree of the scale, and fifth degree of the scale are what we're talking about here. In the key of A, that would be A, D, and E. So we've already learned our inversions for A, D, and E. Now let's group them together to create some 1, 4, and 5 patterns. Let's start with the root in the bass for A. So here's an A chord. Root position A, 1, 3, 5. Now for my D chord, I'm using second inversion. So that's 5, 1, 3. And for my E chord, I'm using first inversion. That's 3, 5, 1. Now I'm going to go up to the neck to A in first inversion. So here's A, 3, 5, 1. Here's D, root position, 1, 3, 5. And here's E in second inversion. That is 5, 1, 3. And finally, we have A, and we have it in the second inversion here. So that's 5, 1, 3. And then we're going to do D in first inversion. So that's all the way up at 14. And then we're going to do E, and that's in root position. So that is the key of A. Now let's repeat that for the key of C. So here's C in second inversion, third fret, so that's 5, 1, 3. Then we have F in first inversion, 3, 5, 1, and then we have G in root position. Next we'll have C in root position, 1, 3, 5 at the 8th fret, and then our 4 chord F will be in second inversion, and our 5 chord G will be in first inversion. Now our 1 chord C will be in first inversion, so that's at 12 here. And now Now we have F, and that's in root position. And then finally we have G, and that's in second inversion. Now, let's get a look at the exercises. So this first exercise will be playing triad inversions around the circle of fifths. If you don't know what the circle of fifths is, check out my video on the circle of fifths. I will give it here in this video so you understand the order of the circle of fifths. But the circle of fifths starts on C, and we will play all three C inversions. So here is C triad, second inversion. So I'm starting kind of as close to the nut as I can. So second inversion, root position, first inversion, and then I continue around the circle of fifths and do that for each of the 12 roots. So the next root in the circle of fifths would be G. So here's G, root position, first inversion, and then we have second inversion. So from here you continue around the circle until you've completed the exercise through all 12 roots. Let's get a look. In our next exercise, we're going to group those inversions together into 1, 4, and 5. So we'll still be using the circle of fifths, but we'll play 3 inversion groupings for each key. So we'll start with the key of C, play the inversion groupings, and then go to the key of G, and then D, etc. Let's get a look. So here's the key of C. So I have the 1 chord, then the 4 chord, and then the 5 chord. Then I go to the next grouping, 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. Then I go to the next grouping, 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord. Then I go to the next key. So my next key is G. So then I have G, 1 chord, 4 chord, and my 5 chord is D. So I can do that pretty much partly open there. And then I go to the next inversion set. So G, C, D, and then again G, C, and D. And then you continue around the circle of fifths. Let's get a look. That's it for major triads on strings 4, 5, and 6. I'm Kimberly Allison from Starliner Music, and I hope to see you back on my channel soon.